What is going on, everybody, and welcome on back into Call of the Wild, where today we are going to try and figure out which one the best class 428 rifle is currently in the game. Now, the guns that we are going to be testing out are going to be the guns that are exclusively class 428. So I know that some guns run, for example, from class 5 to 9, or some run from 3 to 7. We're not going to include those. We are only going for the pure class 4 to 8 rifles. And the options that we have for this are going to be the M1, the 30-06, the 303. We also have the 270 and the 6.5mm, as well as the beautiful 50 cal rifle. Now then, we are going to test them against each other in a couple of different ways, okay? The first one is going to be the penetration and expansion, as all of the guns apart from the 50 cal are running the polymer tip round. We're then also going to be testing them for their accuracy, their effective range, and of course we're going to test out their magazine size, the recoil, but also how much they cost. And the way that we're going to try and figure this out is that all of the guns will gain a point on the chart for every area that they exceed in, and at the end I will go through and I'll put up on screen a total tally of all of the points that the gun scored, hopefully coming up with a good ranking order, and I will also show you guys which ones in that order are base game and which ones are DLC. So let's go ahead and start by talking about the penetration of these guns. Now then, the way that you see the penetration of a gun is quite simple. You go into your inventory and you go to your ammo. When you hover over each of the ammo types, it will say down there in the bottom right corner what the recommended classes are, and as you can see on all of our guns here, the recommended class is 428. But in terms of penetration, all of the guns boast a 40 penetration capability, apart from the 270, which is 35. So therefore, all of the guns apart from the 270 are going to gain a point for this category, because that is where they exceed. And then in terms of expansion, I have two winners really, and the reason for that is the 50 cal here boasts a beautiful 30 expansion. However, the round is not a polymer tip bullet. But in terms of polymer tips, the winner goes to the 303 that has 12 penetration. The worst scoring in this category is the 6.5 that only has 4, the 30-06 and the M1 that have 11, and then the 270 has 5. Now then, one of the things that every shooter will care about is the accuracy of their rifle, and I fully understand that, which is why we are going to go through the accuracy stats as well. Now then, the 6.5 is miles ahead in this category, boasting a beautiful 70 accuracy. Meanwhile, we have the 50 cal, which is the worst in category, on only 25. Following on from that, both the 303 and 270 both have 55, and then the 30-06 and M1, which both use the same 30-06 polymer tip bullet, by the way, they both have 35 accuracy. Now then, when it comes to their effective range, that's the effective range of the bullets. The standard effective range is 150 meters. That tends to be across the board for all rifles, not just in this class. However, it does have to be said that both the 6.5 and the 50 cal have an extended effective range at 200 meters. Now then, one of the things that I do feel is important is the magazine size, and there's a couple of reasons for this. Not only is it important because it allows you to take on more animals between reloads, but also it does allow you therefore to not have as much downtime. Therefore, if you take a shot at an animal that's in a group of 6, you have a better chance at taking on a second one from that group before they all flee if you don't have to reload in between each shot, which is why in this category the 50 cal comes up at the bottom with only 1 round in the magazine. Next up is the 30-06, which only has 4 rounds in the magazine, and then all of the other rifles have a 5-round magazine. But I do have to award the M1 an extra point, because not only does it have a 5-round magazine, but it does also have a semi-automatic magazine. And the reason I feel that that's important is because therefore it allows you to take on that follow-up shot quicker, meaning that if you're taking on a lot of the different species, you'll be able to get 2 shots out before the animal has even started to flee. It will still be in a spook stage, and that semi-automatic follow-up shot takes it down so much quicker. So one of the things I thought it might be quite nice to do, which is why I brought us over to the shooting range, is to actually go ahead and demonstrate the difference in magazines. So we'll start off with your standard magazine, which is a non-semi-automatic. You can see here we'll take shot on like that, and you have downtime between each of the bullets. Whereas if you go over to the M1 here, you can see that the shot is a lot quicker. You can take the follow-up shots a lot quicker. Whereas if we go ahead and use a 50 cal here, you can see that between shots, even if they are accurate, you have a lot of downtime in between your rounds, which does increase the chances that the animals will have fled by the time you get your second shot ready. However, given that it has the best penetration and expansion together, you would hope that that means that you don't actually need that second shot after all. But of course, regardless of the magazine size, the magazine functionality, or how many bullets you are able to shoot per second, the one thing that is going to affect all of that on how many shots you actually take has to be the recoil. How much kickback there is when you take those shots on. So let's go ahead and have a look at the stats for that. There are a couple of different stats, but the difference between the worst and the best rifle is quite amazing. Now, the best one here has to be the 6.5 with only 50 recoil. Moving up then to the 303 and the 270 on 64. The 50 cal has 70, and then the 30-06 has 80. Meanwhile, the worst in rank is the M1 with 82 recoil. Now then, given how big that difference is going all the way from 50 up to 82, I am going to give them points in categories, okay? So the best out there being, so the 6.5 is going to get 2 points for this category. The 303, 270, and 50 cal are both going to get 1 point, and then because of how high they are, the 30-06 and the M1 are going to get no point. And then finally, we will go ahead and we will move on to the gun cost. Now, this will include not only the initial purchase price of the gun, but also the cost of buying 100 rounds of ammunition. So after doing the maths here, what we have is that to buy the gun and then 100 cartridges of ammunition, the M1 and the 30-06 are both going to cost 85,000. The 303 to buy is 40,000, and then it's 88,000 for the ammo, so that takes you to a total of 128,000. 6.5 will come to a total cost of 72,000. 6.5 will come to a total of 75,000. 270 comes out to a total of 82,000, and then we have the 50 cal, which costs 45,000. But do bear in mind that with the 50 cal only shooting 1 round at a time, it is going to take you a lot longer to get through all of those bullets. Now then, in this comparison, I haven't gone ahead and used the rifle score requirement as a contributing factor towards where the guns rank, as it doesn't necessarily reflect on how the gun performs when compared directly to the others. So there we have it. Quite an informative video, quite an educational video, and I think really cool to see how the rifles stack up when directly compared to the other rifles that are in its class. And you can see on screen right now the results. I think that they're very interesting. I would argue that the majority of players' favorite rifles out there are the M1 and the Ecus 30-06, but they seem to rank quite low. You guys are ultimately the deciders of which one your favorite rifle is, but hopefully this does help indicate to you which one might be the best one to try. And it turns out it is going to be the 6.5mm, coming ahead of all of the other rifles in quite a lot of the tests that we did today. Following on from the 6.5mm, we have the 50 cal, the 303, then the M1, the 270, and finally the Ecus 30-06. A really interesting test. I actually didn't expect it to come out this way. If I had have ranked it beforehand without ever doing any tests, I would have said it will go M1 Grand, 30-06, 303, 6.5, 270, and 50 cal. Turns out I was wrong, and that's actually why I enjoy doing these tests, because it allows us to see what the stats say versus how we feel. So there you guys go. Do leave a like if this video has been informative for you and interesting as well, and do make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already, so that you get all of the content that's coming out to the YouTube channel each and every day. But until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the hunt out there. I will catch you next time. Peace.